Welcome to Collections of Cinema.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode.
Hello, I'm listening. Welcome
It's
back.
not hello, I'm listening.
Oh, fuck. Welcome back to a new episode of Collections of Cinema with me, Woifi and Danielle.
And me, Dani. This is Cock.
Cock coming to you. Short for Collections of Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Cock. A new episode of Cock. Close your eyes.
As we take you through a journey of
Cock. A new episode of Cock. Close your eyes, enjoy, sit back.
Relax. But not too
Relax.
much.
Not too much. And take your pants off. Rub your thighs while you listen.
Okay, it's getting a little too much.
This is the last episode in our Christmas
Series.
and already we are sorry that we bring you this episode a little late, but this week was a little crazy.
It was.
But nonetheless, it's going to be a banger because we are talking about Elf.
Which is just one of the greatest Christmas
This
movies ever made.
Beautiful 4K Blu-ray. We watched this week, and it's one of the most fun Christmas movies, I would say, Christmas comedy films ever made.
I agree.
It was released in 2003 by who cares who it was released by, but it was directed by Jon Favreau, who is now known by for the
Sonny, right? His name's Sonny? In the Marvel movies? In the, is that his name?
I don't know, but he's directed 2 Iron Man movies. He has been a big part in The Mandalorian and in the Star Wars series Disney thing.
And in Spider-Man.
Hmm?
And in Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, he has been playing a role in a lot of Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
He has done the Jungle Book and Lion King movies, the new ones.
And I mean, one of his most iconic roles is on Friends.
I wouldn't say iconic, but
I think it's iconic.
He is a great director. He's a great comedy performer. Especially in the early 2000s, he had a lot of cool comedies. His first film, Swingers, is still one of the greatest movies ever made, I think, in my opinion. And yeah, it came out in 2003 with a budget of 33 million. It made 28.9 million, so a massive amount of money for a comedy, especially back in the day. And of course, Will Ferrell is the main guy. He's Buddy the Elf. James Caan, the late James Caan, is his dad. Zoe Deschanel.
I think it's James Caan.
James Caan, sorry. Bob Newhart is in it. Zoe Deschanel. And a lot of other cool actors. Do you want to go into the plot of the movie?
I mean, I guess most people know the plot of the movie. It kind of starts off like in an orphanage, and there's a bunch of babies. One of them sneaks out of its crib and goes into Santa's sack.
Back into the sack.
While Santa's not looking because he's enjoying the milk and cookies.
Yeah.
And he then, unbeknownst to himself, takes the baby back to the North Pole with him. And it's not until they're in the North Pole that they realize who it is. And they named him Buddy because on his diaper it said like Buddy something, like, I don't know, it was the brand of the diaper was something Buddy.
Yeah.
She's sitting up right now.
That's fine.
And yeah, so that's how it starts. And he ends up being raised by Santa Claus and the elves. And so he grows up thinking that he's an elf. And eventually, fast forward to he's an adult man making toys.
Living amongst
the elves and sleeping in a tiny bed and showering in a tiny shower.
They incorporated a lot of those trick shots from The Lord of the Rings, where like they shifted perspective. So he's in the foreground and the actors are in the background, and so it looks like they're smaller. And it's so funny. There's so many funny scenes. But yeah, he goes then to New York to...
She just threw the pacifier.
Do you need to go up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fine now.
One of us needs to go up.
It's fine. I'll keep continuing quickly with the plot of the movie.
Okay.
So he then goes to New York and seeks out his dad, his real dad, and it's James Caan. And The fun thing is James Caan is like a executive CEO type, not CEO, but an executive kids book, whatever. And he is supposed to write a new kids book or even present the kids book before Christmas. And he is in a lot of stress, and he has this very almost non-existing relationship with his son, and also like his wife is not really like, they have a very distant relationship, I would even say. And so when Buddy the elf comes into his life, obviously he stirs up a lot of shit, and there are a lot of fun scenes, especially at the beginning. But one of the best scenes, in my opinion, is when Buddy the elf comes to New York for the first time. So he knows he needs to go to New York because his dad lives there, and he works in the Empire State Building. So that is his like goal. And so he takes on the journey from the North Pole to New York. And there are a lot of fun scenes where he goes through those cool cool weird sets with some weird funny characters that are made out of like it's stop motion characters, and it's pretty funny. And then essentially ends up in New York.
You're in a perfect spot because it's the one sorry, it's backwards. When the narwhal comes up out of the, like, it's supposed to look like kind of this scary thing all of a sudden that's coming out of the water, and then he's got this teeny tiny little face, and he's just like, "Goodbye, buddy, I hope you find your dad."
It's really funny.
It's so funny.
Obviously a nod to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah, I
mean the snowman is in it too from Rudolph.
And so then he comes to New York, and that's a really funny scene because they filmed a lot of stuff with Will Ferrell just walking around New York and interacting with people. And it's really funny because he just does shit, and it's
There's the guy hailing the cab. He's like waving for the cab, and Will Ferrell stands in front of him and he's waving, "Hi."
Or he
hello.
Picks up like gum at like a train station or whatever,
like the railing of the subway station.
And it's so funny. He just picks up gum and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I already basically went through the plot, so we're done with the plot. 2003, Will Ferrell, I mean, at his best, I would say. He's so funny. But the cool thing about the movie is it's very much like a Pixar movie a little bit, where it's really funny for kids, but at the same time, there's a lot of
adult
stuff
humor
for adults, right? Adult humor, but adult messages as well. And the whole overall plot is very sweet. I feel like it's super simple. It's 1.5 hours long. Yeah, 1.5 hours long. So it's a super fast watch. And I mean, if you have not seen Elf, I highly suggest you go watch the movie.
It's so funny.
It's really funny.
And what are some good like key moments? There's when he's walking through the park with his brother. His brother, yeah. He's walking through the park after he picks him up from school, and they're just talking, and he's like, "So, good news! I saw a dog today."
Like,
have you ever seen a dog?
Like super random. And he plays so well because he plays his character so like innocent. Like he gets his dad, like he walks past the store and it says for special someone, and it's like lingerie, and he's like, "Oh, my dad is a special someone. I want to gift that to him." And so cut to James Caan opening the present, and he holds the lingerie.
That's so good.
Or also the stuff that Buddy eats. So
is the three main food groups of an elf are candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
And he just at breakfast he just mixes all the sugar stuff together
with spaghetti
and just eats it, and it's so funny.
And when they're eating spaghetti the night before, because she made spaghetti, he was like, "Could you pass me the syrup, maple syrup?" And she's like, "I didn't put any on the table." And he's like, "It's okay, I brought my own." And he has like this little vial in his shirt, like in his sleeve, and he pulls it out and he pours it over, and she's like, "Oh, you really like sugar, don't you?" And he's like, "Is there sugar in syrup?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Then yes." Super enthusiastic.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's so funny.
There's so many fun moments. Also, his stepmom, or Walter's wife at that point, is Mary Steenburgen, and she is also in Step Brothers, which is a
plays his mom.
fun little nod to fun little coincidence. And then also
I was
Peter,
going to say, isn't Step Brothers later?
and Peter Dinklage is in it, which is also funny. That scene is so fucking funny.
He must be a South Pole elf.
So Peter Dinklage, obviously, all we know is what is the PC term?
I think it's still little person.
It's a little person, I think so too. So he's a little person. And so Buddy comes into the meeting, and Peter Dinklage is just explaining his idea for the new children book. And obviously, Buddy thinks that he's an elf. And
it's, from Buddy's perspective, super innocent. Like, he's not trying to be a dick.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't know you had elves working here. And then Peter Dinklage, rightfully so, gets pissed off.
Yeah.
And he was like, what did he just say? And they tried to tell him to ignore it. But then he was like, does Santa know that you left the workshop? But the way he delivers it is so like, it's very mean, the way he delivers it. But because it's Buddy, you're like, he doesn't mean it. He's actually genuinely asking if Santa knew that he left.
So funny.
And he's like, call me elf one more time. And it's just, he's an angry elf. Just charges at him. That's so good.
Also, Andy Richter is in it.
And Kyle Gass.
Kyle Gass from Tenacious D.
What is Kyle Gass's pitch for the children's book? A tribe of asparagus children.
A tribe of asparagus children.
Tribe.
Also tomato. Something about a tomato.
Oh, I can't.
And Peter Dinklage is like, no tomatoes. Yeah, it's really funny. There's so many good lines in it. I got some actually. You have such a pretty face. You should be on a Christmas card. For example, son of a nutcracker.
When do they say son of a nutcracker?
I don't know. What is it? The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. Santa, oh my God, Santa's here. No, I'm
Oh man, when Santa comes, so Buddy is walking through a mall, and because Buddy's dressed like an elf and it's Christmas time, there's a man who, like a manager there, who thinks that he's working as like in Santa's workshop in the mall. And so he tells him to get back to work. Yeah. And Buddy has no idea what he's talking about, but he follows him and he goes to the North Pole, and they walk in and he's like, what is this place? And he's like, it's the North Pole. And he's like, no, it's not. He's like, yes, it is. No, it's not. And he battles him on that.
Because he also kind of is like a kid a little bit.
Totally.
Because he's so innocent how he plays his character. Yeah. And he's never mean, but he's just very like...
Matter of fact.
Matter of fact, yeah.
And then the manager makes an announcement that Santa's coming tomorrow, and he flips out. He's so excited. He's like, I know him. Like, so excited. And when Santa comes... Buddy is so excited that Santa's there. He cuts through all of the children to go see his friend Santa. And he gets up close to him and he goes, you're not Santa. And he's like, yes, I am. And then he again fights him. No, you're not. Fights him on the whole thing. And then the best line, maybe I think, in the entire movie is he basically is telling him that he should be ashamed of himself for portraying Santa. You're sitting on a throne of lies.
So funny. I'm reading right now. Will Ferrell suffered ill effects after eating too much sugar for the film.
Sure.
And so additional singing was not in the original script, and Favreau added it when he learned that she was a singer.
He didn't know she was a singer when she...
and Farrell improvised several key moments when they were singing together.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because she wasn't. That kind of was like a breakthrough for her, I feel like, that movie. I don't think a lot of people knew who she was before that. Yeah. So I guess it makes sense.
There also was a Broadway musical.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that. There was also an animated special Elf Buddies musical Christmas. I didn't know that.
I knew that.
There was a video game in 2004 for Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, all of those movies had video games.
It's so crazy. And there was a sequel.
What?
In 2013, Favreau was interested in making a sequel to the film titled Elf 2 Buddy Saves Christmas. And Farrell stated that he did not want to make a sequel. I mean, yeah. And in 2016, Farrell stated that the sequel was still possible for next month. Farrell iterated that a sequel was unlikely and stated that he was generally reluctant to do sequels unless there was a story that justifies it. In 2022, Caan reaffirmed that the possibility of a sequel was unlikely, stating that Farrell and Favreau did not get along.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, the thing is, I can see it.
I could see them having creative differences.
Yeah. Favreau is, I mean, if you look at his directing style and the way he works on movies, Favreau is, I think, Farrell is very much like the opposite in terms of like improvising.
I was going to say, I feel like Will Ferrell's probably more loosey-goosey and go with the flow, and Favreau is probably more calculated and...
Especially nowadays, yeah.
I could just see, I mean, obviously we don't know that, but I could picture it.
Something else about the movie, I don't know. It's a fun Christmas film for kids and for adults, and if you have not seen it, you should really check it out. Yeah. Let's go to...
And before you do that, anyone who says that Will Ferrell is not funny...
What are you doing with your life? Nah, I get it. Some people just don't. I
mean,
like
I know
humor.
that humor is subjective, but I don't know. I feel like that man and Conan O'Brien, like they're two very, very few people I feel like are just funny by just being alive.
Yeah.
And those two humans are just like naturally funny people. Like they don't have to really work for it that much.
Okay.
Anyways, but
Movie of the week.
Movie of the week.
Okay, we watched Alien Romulus, Here, 21 Grams, and Conclave and Enora.
Hold on. Okay,
Yeah,
wait,
so many
you
good
have to
movies.
say them again. So Here, what was that one again?
Here
Bad
was
with titles.
we watched it during the day with Tom Hanks, where it's just one
Mm-hmm.
perspective. Alien Romulus.
Yeah, I remember that one.
21 Grams.
I remember that.
Conclave. And Enora. I mean, for me, it's Enora.
Yeah, I figured it would be. The thing is,
it's the I feel like the most different and not stereotypical movie. Second, it would be Conclave.
I was gonna.
But Here was also.
I really liked Here.
Here was not. I thought Heretic. Here was okay, but
I really liked Here.
The idea was nice, but there was so many flaws about the movie that I
didn't think so. I really liked it. It felt like a play, and I like when movies feel like a play.
Yeah, but the problem that I had with Here was that there were so many side stories that wasn't really interesting at all.
But they did a good job with them, and that they didn't stick with them too long. It was just
until the end. All the time they sprinkled in side stories.
You sprinkled, but I mean they didn't like dive into. Oh, I liked that because it showed the differences in the house. It showed the differences of the families who lived there, and
but the main story obviously was on Tom Hanks' story, and that's what I like. There would have been so much more emotional impact with his mom dying there and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I think that the idea there, or the reason they did it, is because they wanted to show just how much time was there before this main story happened there, like the main thing that happened there. They
could have done that still.
And how much in between from when, he left and then came back.
Yeah, I still didn't like that at all. I liked the storyline with Tom Hanks and all that stuff.
And Tom Hanks is just so brilliant. I mean, it's just so good.
No, for me, it's Enora. What is yours?
I'm stuck between Enora and Conclave because
Conclave is amazing.
I had a lot of issues with Enora, which makes it hard for me to pick it as movie of the week. And Conclave, I didn't have any issues with.
Yep.
But my issues with Enora are just some. I mean, we talked about it after the movie, but I think also I just have trouble with movies that could potentially lead to any type of like abuse or anything like that. It's too personal, and so I tend to have trouble enjoying those movies anyways. I know it didn't get to that point, but it kind of alluded to the fact that it could. And
I would still pick it simply because it was so controversial with that stuff and also so different. Conclave was great, fucking amazing. It was a masterclass of acting, cinematography, directing, but Enora is still like so different.
I agree.
So that's why I would take it. Sean Baker, 2024. I don't want to tell too much about the story. It's about a stripper who gets involved with like this Russian rich kid, and they hang out and they fuck and eventually end up being married. But there's a lot of shit then going down with his caretakers and parents. and she's just stuck in the middle of the whole shit show.
She kind of thought that she was signing up for this like kind of glamorous lifestyle all of a sudden, where, you know, she didn't have that before, and so it was nice for her to have this glamorous lifestyle, and very quickly realized that it's not so glamorous, and that she has taken on way more than she signed up for, essentially.
No, it's a very different movie, and especially the ending. I think the ending was hard.
Phenomenal.
Like, it hits so hard. Like the last second basically of the movie is just like, what? It's mind-boggling. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's not a movie for everybody. It's very different to like a typical movie, and if you like Sean Baker, obviously, then you should give it a try. Sean Baker did Red Rocket, Florida Project, Tangerine, like amongst his more notable movies. Yeah. That's it, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we do another one before the New Year's. I don't know.
I think so.
Probably.
I think we'll do one before New Year's, because there's a week between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm sure we'll do one.
Please subscribe. Please like the podcast everywhere you listen or watch. Please share. Did I say share already? Yes, I did.
I think so.
But if not, share. If you want to support us, head over to our Patreon. You can sign up there for free, or you do like a tier for a month or whatever, and you get something out of it. So it's not for nothing, and it's the best way to support us. We're still like an independent little show. That's it.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.